All right, guys, listen, we are getting started on another episode of the Extra Mile podcast. Stay tuned because we got a man coming all the way from Colombia, and I'm not talking about South Carolina, right? South Carolina?
Right, yeah.
It's not South Carolina.
It's not South
All
Carolina.
right, guys, stay tuned.
Your success is on the other side of your comfort zone. See, that's the difference between me and those other guys. I wanted it more than they did. I wanted it enough to get uncomfortable. I wanted it enough to go the extra mile. Do you want it bad enough? Do you want it bad enough to go the extra mile?
Woo! Let me tell you guys something, man. This guest right here, he works with people that want it bad enough to go the extra mile. AJ, what's up, my dude?
Man, living life, brother.
What's going on,
Chilling,
bro?
man.
I'm like so honored, you know what I mean? Because like it's cool to have like the highest caliber guests, you know, we have that. But to have people come in from out of the country and be able to get you on the podcast while you're here, that's cool as shit, man. So thank you for coming.
Hey, man, it's my pleasure. I had to come see the studio, man. This
Yeah,
is dope.
yeah, it's getting better and better, man. Like I
love
said,
it.
every single time we raise it with, you know, these awesome guests. So tell everybody a little bit more about you. Let's talk about like, you know, we're gonna dive deep into the shit that you're doing for people every single day now. But let's get the story of where AJ kind of like started, how it came, and like how you ended up in Colombia.
All right. So I always joke and tell people, they ask me where I come from. I always tell them I came from my mom and my dad.
Oh shit. Okay.
And I say that because my dad has 19 kids. So it always throws people off guard. Because when I say I come from a big family, everybody's like, oh, 4 or 5. I'm like, nah, 19.
Damn. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I come from a big family.
That's what's up.
So for me growing up, it was a lot different than for most people because, within my mother's children, it's 8 of us.
Oh shit.
Right. And I'm the oldest of 8 kids. So
Right.
growing up was different because being the oldest, it was a lot of sacrificing. Like I remember.
Are you the oldest of 19 or the oldest at just 8?
I'm just the oldest of 8
Oh,
of
shit.
my mother's
Shit,
8.
that's
that
a lot there,
that
bro.
was enough right there.
Yeah. So all 8 in the home. So okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So that was a challenge enough. So from there, it was just you learn how to hustle, you learn how to struggle, you learn how to get it, you learn how to live off little, and it has some great things and it has some bad things, right? Some great things came from it, some bad things came from it, but all of that made me who I was. So I love it. Love my mother. Always pay homage to her, Patricia Perkins. I will always mention her name because that's where I come from.
Yeah, I was sad, man. We were in Cancun. I didn't get a chance to actually meet her because I was leaving and I was like, wait, is that AJ's mom right there? But we were like literally walking out and saying goodbye. So I'd have had to say hi and goodbye all at one time. But hopefully that opportunity arises again.
Yeah, she's coming to Colombia.
Okay.
She's coming to Colombia.
Okay,
So.
cool. But talk about that though, man. Like it was cool to have her there, right? Like that was something different for you. Man,
for me, that was probably one of the most amazing things I've ever done because, my mother said something when we were eating breakfast, and she said, never in my life did I think I would get to see stuff like this, right? Because we came from the gutter, so it's like going to Florida is big for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've never been to Disneyland. We've never been to Disney World, right? Like if you went to Six Flags, you was winning. And you did that with the Coke bottle that gave you half off of somebody else's ticket, right? So like that's just how we made it, right? So being able to bring her down there and to see her see me teach and speak professionally and meet the UnleashU Now team and see what we're building, and man, that meant the world to me because I felt like she deserved it, right? Just recently there was an NFL draft and you see everybody's parents being around and looking at them and, waiting for their name to be called. Well, that was my NFL draft moment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It was she got to see me do my thing.
That's good shit, man. It's crazy because I got 2 kids, man, and for a little while I had my nieces, but I would think, okay, if I'm doing something for one, I got to do something for the other one, and I got to do something for the other 2, right? So like it doesn't matter how well off you're doing, but when you got 8 kids, right, and you got to do, if you're going to do for one, right, if one's going to Six Flags, like, okay, you got 7 other, that changes that bill dramatically, right? So I could imagine what it was like. Now, did you know, like, as you were growing up, like, at what point did you realize like you guys might have had it a little bit worse off than other people? Because like I feel like we kind of grow up in this norm. Like we don't know until we know.
Right. Well, for us, it was interesting because my we lived in the house that my grandfather paid for.
Oh shit.
But it was 3 houses down from the projects. So we would get beat up by the project kids because we lived in the house. But then I was like, but y'all get Jordans because we don't get tax refunds like that.
Right.
So I'm like, yo, this is like, we hustling backwards here. Like, either let's go
Right.
to the project, so let's like,
Yes.
you know, so
It was like this awkward spot.
Yeah.
Like you feel like you're from the projects, but like
Yeah.
according to them, you're not from the
right,
projects.
you're not from the projects,
Yeah.
but to everybody else, it's like, no, you in the projects.
Yeah.
Like that, no, that's where y'all from. I think for me, when I knew I had it bad was I used to get hand-me-down shoes, right? And I remember my
From who?
bro, I act like I've been this big my whole life. You know, actually, I got it from one of my cousins.
Oh, okay.
And he has some British Knights. I don't even know if y'all remember BKs.
100%.
So he had some BKs, and I had his BKs, and I was like, oh, man, I'm going to rock these to school tomorrow. And I rocked them to school not knowing that they were his old shoes. And, like, you know, you be joning with each other. And, I mean, it was a big crowd around. He was like, yeah, but you got on my shoes.
Dang.
I was like, oh. I was like, yo, we doing bad.
Yeah.
Like, we doing bad.
Yeah.
But, you know, when you're a kid, everybody doing bad. So you make, you know, everybody get teased. It's not like now where you got social media where it's captured forever, right? It's like you laugh and then you go play football and, you know, keep it moving.
Right. Right. So, so obviously we jumped ahead with the whole like your mom seeing you speak and everything like that. But let's go back a little bit and take that journey with us from the projects to, you know. And I know that you could, obviously there's parts of that you could spend all day on, like, you know, but let's take it from there to what, to like the breakthrough moment.
So, I mean, I had a, you know, some people say I had a hard childhood. I'm just like, it's normal to me.
It's crazy, right? Like,
yeah. It's
like people, like, it's crazy. Cause like, what's hard? Like what's hard? Because for me, that shit was so normal.
Yeah. It's relative. It's
Right.
like, yo, we live.
Yes.
We live. We
I'm
made
like,
it happen.
I'm like, damn, that kid over there had it harder than me, and it might not be on paper as hard.
Yeah.
But like it impacted them differently.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, honestly, man, and to your point, I think some of the kids that had it, because, you know, fortunately I was good at sports. So I got a chance to hang with some of the kids that were well-to-do and that their parents would leave for the weekends to go to Cabo, and they had the liquor cabinets to themselves. And I'm like, yo, you actually had it harder than me because you had to use willpower not to become an alcoholic in high school. Like, all we could afford was Boone's Farm.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you was drinking like straight up
Like right. Yeah.
Cavassier in high school, right?
Yes.
Like
25-year Glenlivet scotches
like,
and
bruh,
shit like that.
Hey,
like,
man,
what?
we was
Taking
drinking
shots
Bush.
of that?
We was drinking Bush Light. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So it was
Yeah.
like, this is nasty. So we didn't understand like, yo, there's quality level. So
Right.
to me, some of them had it harder.
Right.
Right. I think it's all relative.
Yeah, it is.
But you know, I was became a professional barber. Because I'm the oldest of 8 kids, 6 boys. I had to learn how to cut hair
Yeah.
because she wasn't paying for no barber, right? And I got tired of her messing my head up, so I was like, "Well,
Did you charge them?
my brothers,
Yeah.
man, my mother would have beat my tail, like, man, please, mama didn't play that. I charged the neighborhood kids,
Yeah.
but my mother, nah, I couldn't charge my brothers,
Nah.
yeah, I couldn't do that. So, you know, went to school, played ball in college, you know, had aspirations to go to the NFL. You know, until I ran my 40-yard dash, and my 40-yard time was forever.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. I ran a forever.
Yeah, I ran a forever 40, and you know, I had a chance to work out for the Browns and the Rams, and they were like, you know, thank you for coming and thank you for leaving.
Damn.
I was like, all right. So, you know, it's funny. People ask me like, man, why don't you go to the league? I'm like, yo, they just don't hand out contracts in the league, bro. That's not how that works. Like, I wasn't good enough.
Right.
Right. And it just made me kind of shift, like, what do I want to do?
Right.
And I was like, yo, I'm going to become a barber, because where I'm from, that's all we kind of know, right? It's like you're either going to be a professional football player or professional athlete, or you're going to be a drug dealer, or you're going to be a barber. Like, those are the examples that we see. So I was like, I don't know nothing about business, but, you know, barbers, they make cool money. So I became a barber and started doing that.
How long did you do that?
I was a professional barber for about 6 years.
Really?
Yeah, I owned a barbershop and beauty salon in between St. Louis and Memphis.
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
I'm pretty nice with the clippers, man.
Yeah.
But I cut hair in jail too, though. So, but we didn't have clippers. So I
Yo,
had to
that's
use
the
a
best.
razor
Yo,
blade.
I'm telling you, the best barbers in the world is in jail.
For real.
Yo, the most creative, because they understand everything about hair.
And it's crazy what they can do with a comb and a razor blade.
I'm telling you.
It's insane.
I'm telling you. Yo, I tell everybody, the best barbers are in jail.
Yeah.
Hands down.
That's the best a lot of things though, right?
Yeah.
Like you want to talk about ball players. Like
Yeah.
how many LeBrons are there and how many Steph Currys are there in prison?
Oh my
you know
God.
what I mean? It's a damn shame.
Like if you put a prison dunk contest with an NBA dunk contest, the prison one will win.
Yes.
A 3-point
100%.
contest, prison one will win.
Yeah.
Because they have perfected their craft just like the NBA players.
Yeah. And you talking about people like being like on task and like consistent to their game and working hard, bro. They're locked in. Like,
They have nothing else to do.
That's how they do. Like, what you mean?
They have nothing
like,
else to do.
Yeah, there are like very few distractions. But yeah, man. So yeah, I enjoyed cutting hair, bro. Like I really did. It's an art form. It's art.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yo, I loved it. I just can't draw.
oh really?
I cannot draw.
Man,
to
that's
save
crazy
my
because I
life.
always think that like I always feel like there's a connection between like barbers and like being able to draw.
The
That's
best
wild.
barbers can draw. So the only thing that made me good was I was working for a guy. He owned a barber school, and I would volunteer because I was soaking up knowledge. And he said, AJ, I see you working really hard, and I see that you're not as he knew I could cut because I would just been cutting. So my fade game was off the chain, but like my line and like my lines would just be. And he made
Like, it
this
looks straight to me.
Right. I was like, it looked straight till I turn you around in the mirror, and then I'm like, oh. But he said, man, you don't have to be the best barber in the world. Mm-hmm. You just got to be the best barber in the world to your client.
Yep.
And it totally took all the focus off me. And I was like, what do you want?
Right.
Right. And that's kind of when I started changing my perspective on working with people.
Right.
It was like, what do you want? Right.
Yeah.
It's not what I want. And that's, I started taking over because I would give the clients whatever they wanted. I didn't care what it was. Guys would come in and be like, give me a 1963 Sam Cooke. I'd be like, bro, that's whack, and I'm going to give it to you. And I would give them exactly what they wanted. And that's how I became, like, the best barber in the area.
I fuck with Sam Cooke, man.
Hey,
That's
man.
my guy.
Hey, man. But you can't get a 63 haircut in 2008.
Nah, you can't do that.
That's all bad.
That's my guy right there, though. I literally listen to Sam Cooke, like, almost every day. Like, it's one of my playlists. It's, like, on my playlist every morning.
Yeah.
Fuck with Sam Cooke. Anyway, all right. So the barber, that was intriguing though, because like I know you've mentioned it a few times, but I had an interest in that for a little while too. I bought like really nice clippers.
Oh yeah, you had the Andes and the oysters.
Yes,
yeah,
bro. And I was in the
know.
trailer park, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna shut this shit down.
Yeah,
but it didn't work out because I had some other shit going on. But anyway, let's take you from there. So like, all right, so you're perfecting your craft. Like you're becoming not just an expert barber, but an expert at probably asking good questions to your clients and listening, right?
Yeah.
Like, so where do you go from there, and how does your life progress from the barbering?
So I had a mentor named Dennis Vincent, and I started cutting his hair. Same thing, right? He wanted this haircut that would not be considered cool,
Right.
but it fit him.
Really?
But all other barbers wanted to give him and I would give him the exact haircut he wanted, what he wanted. And we started talking. He owned a integrated packaging company that made boxes and worth about $20 million. And he was just always quiet, real quiet dude. And he started mentoring me. And I would always ask him like, yo, you hear us in there talking about business. We don't know what we talking about. Like, why don't you ever speak up and correct us?
Now, did it start out like just as, you speaking to him in the chair?
That's where it started.
Yeah.
Well, it was, he would have to take business trips, and he would be like, hey, can you open up the shop early for me, right? Can you open up before everybody come?
Right.
So when it was just me and him, he would talk,
right?
But if it was a crowd full of people, he is quiet. Like, he wouldn't say nothing. He would just listen. And I would always ask him like, yo, why do you do that? And he said, AJ, I know what I know about business. I don't know what y'all know.
Right.
And I'm like, yo, you made $20 million and you want to sit and listen to what we know? And it just changed my perspective about listening and always learning from people, because you never know where that small nugget is going to come from. Because I'm like, bro, we don't own nothing.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I own a motorcycle.
Right.
I don't even think I owned a car at the time. I owned a motorcycle. And he would listen to us to see if he could just find different things to help him. Yeah. So he changed it for me, man. He changed it. And
So did you guys get into a coach-client, like a mentor-mentee, like agreement? Okay.
Yep.
And so where does that take you?
So it takes me to him saying, I'm like, hey, I want to own a business like you. And he said, well, you're going to have to learn how to sell and how to lead people. He said, entrepreneur is nothing but a fancy word for salesman. And we talked about it, and I ended up selling my barbershop and moving to Atlanta, Georgia for 100% commission-only job.
Was it a connection that he made for you? Oh, it was somebody totally different?
Somebody told it. He was like, hey, get it.
What was that like? Cause
scary.
Yeah.
It was scary as hell, right? Because, you kill what you eat, or you eat what you kill. Right? So I'm going down there, and the only thing only strength I have is he said it'll work. Yeah. Right? So it was scary, man. It was scary because you're down there by yourself. You don't know anybody, it was tough.
Yeah, but I mean, from my perspective anyway, seeing you go into entrepreneurship first through the barbershop, it was almost like you were in that commissioned role already, right? Because
I can't say that.
Nah.
I can't say that because I opened up the barbershop where I went to school and played football at. So I had a reputation on campus, right? And this is just to back up a little bit.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, by the way.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So this is how I even got my barber license. The guy that owned the barber school had heard about me, and he had somebody call me up to his business and he was like, yo, you're taking my business because I make money off campus. If you stop cutting hair, I'll send you through my barber school for free.
Oh shit.
Because I was killing the game. I'm a hustler.
Obviously.
Like,
I mean, if he's feeling the pain, you was killing it.
Yeah. He was like, yo, if you stop cutting hair on campus, I'll send you through my barbershop for free.
Damn.
So that's how so it wasn't hard for me to transition from barber school to barber because everybody know me in the city now. Right. They know I cut. I got access to the school, and
it's not really like sales, right? Like that. Like it's not. I mean, everything is sales. I get it, but like
it's a different sale,
right? You're not like
because I would literally go up to people in Walmart and be like, "Yo, first one on me."
Yeah,
that was my sales pitch. Like, yo, who your barber? Right, first one on me. They'd be like, "You gonna cut my hair for free?" Bruh, you sit in my chair, you'll never get up.
Yeah.
That's how I felt, right? I was very, very confident in my barbering skills. Right. So I didn't know how to sell for real.
Yeah.
So when I went down to Atlanta, I started working for Aflac.
Oh shit. All right, so jump 100% commission.
100% commission.
Okay. What happens?
I was hungry. What you mean? Like I ended up being hungry. I remember we talk about the turning point. I always tell people it was in 2012 because I worked for Aflac for a while, but I still had like 3 other jobs. I was working for the aquarium. I was working for this barbecue company, right? And me and my cousin.
Hustler.
Bruh, gotta be. That's where I come from.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course.
So me and my cousin, we start this business and I make the first sale, right? Because through Aflac and getting rejected and dealing with all that, I'm starting to learn how to talk to people. So I make the first sale in the company. And I'm excited because I'm like, yo, I'm finna eat, right? And she was like, yo, send me an invoice. I'll pay it on the 15th. And this was January 2nd, 2012. And this was like the pivotal point for me because when she said she'd make it on the 15th, I didn't have any food. Like I didn't have any food. When I told my cousin I made the first sale, he went and bought Chick-fil-A just to celebrate. Right, so he comes. We're celebrating. I'm smashing my food because I ain't ate all day.
Right,
he takes like a bite out of his burger and drops it on the floor, and I mean he couldn't pick it up. I'm a dude. I ain't vacuum like
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
it's a bachelor pad.
Yeah, like it's fully bachelor pad. Yeah. So he picked it up, threw it away, and this had to be at like 11 o'clock in the day, right? So the rest of the day I didn't eat. I couldn't go to sleep that night because I was hungry. So I ended up grabbing his sandwich out of the trash can and like dusting it off and putting it in the microwave, praying over it and eating it. And the reason why that time was so pivotal for me is because during that time, I had a brother that was moving weight. So I was like, bruh, you don't have to struggle. Make a phone call.
Right.
Like you can get stuff moved, right?
Yeah, get back on the grind.
Right, you can get stuff moved. And it was like, nah, like, let's do it the right way. You know what I'm saying? Like I had never sold drugs until that point. I'd always been around drugs, but I played ball, so I never had to sell it, right? So it was just like, yo, don't go down that path.
So this night, right, where the stomach pains take over and you gotta grab this meal from the trash can. Like, I know that everybody's got that moment, right? Like, everybody's got their moment where they ate from the trash, or what version of it is for them, right? What did that do for you in that moment? Like, you know, the last bite, first bite, like, what's going through your head?
Man, like, yo, am I really here? Like, is this for real? Like, yo, I was making $1,000 a week, claiming 4, right?
Right.
Because I'm in the cash bit, right? right. Shh, don't tell them. Don't tell the IRS. But, you know, it's like, yo, and I'm 23 at the time. You know, when I first started my barbershop, I was 23. So when I moved to Atlanta, I'm 27, right? 27, 28. I'm like, yo, you know how to make $1,000 a week. Why are you going to struggle?
Right.
And it was like, yo, you want more, right? Like, can you delay this gratification so you can actually get more? Because, yo, you already see where it can take you because you got a mentor that's showing you, like, yo, if you go through this process, you can have this life, right?
Yeah, it's that saying, like, live now like others won't, so you can live later like others can't. Yeah. Yep. So I want to backtrack just a second. The moment that you left the barber thing, right, 1,000 a week, right, whatever, and you did this, like, what, like, I know what's going through your mind. You're explaining that now, but for the people that are making those kind of decisions right now for themselves in their lives, what advice would you give them just kind of around that moment, of you going from solid income every single week, you know it's coming in, to this chance that you're going to advance your life?
I would say always remember to look from where you're at instead of looking at where you're at.
I love that. That's some good advice.
Because if you look from where you're at, you're always looking at why I'm doing it, right? Why am I doing it? I'm not what I'm going through, but why am I doing it?
Yeah.
Right. And it's that why I'm doing it that kept me from making certain phone calls and, you know, taking other routes that could have been easier, to be like, nah, I know why I'm doing it because this is the life I want. I want a life like my mentors. He has a beautiful family. I want that. You know what I'm saying? I want to impact people. I see how people, you know, admire him, and myself, I admired him. So I was like, I want that. So
it wasn't necessarily like the glamour and glitz of what he had financially, because you've seen that, right? You've seen that to your cousin who was a hustler, right?
Yeah,
I'm
family,
sure. I mean, you were in the projects. You've seen people fucking dealing and like had nice shit. You know what I mean? Because they came in and, you know. So, but that didn't intrigue you as much as this guy who was making an impact.
No, because I'm like, the one thing that I think I've always wanted was peace, man. Like I like sleep. Right. One of the things that my brother told me when he was hustling, he was like, and my brother, like, one thing I got to give my brother, he was one of the most disciplined people I knew. And that's how he became one of the biggest drug dealers in our area. He was like, bruh, I know the feds kick in doors at 6:15. I'm never sleep past 5:45. I'm always out the house by 6 o'clock, right? Yo, I like sleep too much. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, and when he got started, he told me something that I didn't even think about. He said, man, people look at what I do now. They look at my car, but they don't realize when I got started, if you counted all the hours I was on the block, I made less than minimum wage. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, and when you start looking at it that way, it's like, bro, this, like, for real. Even hustlers got to hustle.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, but that's good though. I mean, obviously you weren't intrigued by that. It didn't take you down the wrong path. No. So many of us fell victim to that. You know that. All right. So now what? Right? You get to this point where you have this breakthrough moment and you're grinding in your business. Where do you go from there? And how does your life transform?
Yo, life starts getting good because we start making sales. I started making connections for the 50th anniversary of the March on Washington with Dr. King. I started working with them, and our company created the mobile app that did the Let Freedom Ring, and I'm meeting Bernice King and getting invited to her birthday parties, and I'm like, yo, life is good, right? And then life happened again, and I don't know if y'all know the company Landmark. So it's this personal development company, and my cousin went to one of their things, and they call it a code as well. I don't know if it is. I never went. But when he came back, he was like, "We can't be business partners no more." I was like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, and you also need to move out."
What?
I was like, "No,
damn,
yo, no." So that you know, I wasn't taking care of my business, right? And it put me in a bad spot, and I ended up sleeping out of my car for 3 months. You Yeah. And so that was, it was like, yo, just when you feel like things are getting better,
right?
It was like, yo, you gotta go back down for a minute.
It's crazy, man. Yo, that climb up, and like you feel like you're making some progress, and you keep getting hit like that, man. Like, how many of us are retreating in that moment, like waving the white flag and just going back to barbering or whatever the retreat is for that person, right?
Hell, I was.
Yeah.
I was trying to retreat.
Yeah.
I had planned to move back to San Antonio, Texas. My mother was staying there at the time, so I was like, yo, I'm gonna just go to San Antonio with my mother, get on my feet, start another business, right? Doing the same thing. Yeah. And I had picked up another mentor while I'd been in Atlanta, a guy named Sam Shepard. He's the #1 African American earner in Primerica.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so at the time, Sam was making $140,000 a month, right? So when I told him what happened, I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go move back with my mom," and he was like, "No, you're not." He was like, "Yo, I have a safe parking lot you can sleep in."
Damn.
He said, "Because you're gonna learn more in your car than you ever will running to your mother," and that's when I learned what tough love was.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't trying to save me. He was like, yo, save yourself. Right. Stop running to people. Yeah. Right. You have everything in you to save yourself. Right. You don't need the government. You don't need welfare. You don't need, save yourself.
Yeah, I feel like I need to be a little bit more like Sam, man. I'd be helping people
you.
too much, man. No, but all right. So, but you're right, man. It's so crazy how, like, when you were saying that part of the story, like, I feel like it becomes so evidently clear that people get caught in this pattern of, okay, a little bit of success, failures knocks them off their ass. They get back on their feet. They get a little bit of success, and there's like people that like have started businesses, right, and feel like they've won at times, lost at others, but they're caught in this like just this trap and this pattern of, like, okay, I'm going to have some success. I'm going to get knocked off my feet. I'm going to go back. I'm going to retreat. I'm going to rebuild. I'm going to come back. And they never get to the next level. Like, they get to the same level over and over again. And, that's the part that, like, everybody needs a Sam, right? Like, everybody needs a Sam to, like, yo, bro, like, push through.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I used to come up with I used to call myself this alter ego, D-Bob. Right? D-Bob.
Okay.
It means don't be a little bitch.
Oh, shit.
So whenever I would feel like that, I would be like D-Bob. Like, yo, don't be a little bitch. Like, yo.
I'm laughing because I say that to my kids. Maybe that's what's going wrong, Sean. Nah, I don't say that exactly, but it's funny, man. We refer to my daughters, and I'm a little bit off topic right now, but I tell even my 12-year-old, I'd be like, you're a grown-ass man. You can go get it. Like, it's just like this 12-year-old sweet little girl. I'm like, you're a grown-ass man. You got this, Yeah, man. But it is a degree of that in there, right?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping I'm doing the right thing by them. but it is important for us to have that in us. Like, listen, like I kind of talked about that before with like the underdog advantage. It's like, man, like we've got this in us and we can push through it, and we got to stop acting like we have this actual opportunity to go and retreat and hide under a rock or something like that when we really just need to push forward, right? Because that's where we're really made. We're really made through that.
Yeah.
So tell us that part of it. What like formed this AJ Vassar that we're seeing today?
So what that part taught me is that people gonna believe whoever I portray to them, right?
Okay.
Being a barber, I got very lazy because I could cut hair. I can cut my own hair. I've been cutting my own hair for years. So, when I was in Atlanta, if I cut my hair, cool. If I didn't, cool. But when I was in my car, every day I wanted to look sharp because I didn't want to look homeless, right? And I started realizing, people take you differently how you portray yourself, right? Mm-hmm. And I started realizing, just because being in a car doesn't define your worth, right? So I'm going to be the same AJ when I was sleeping in my car or when I got a Rolls Royce, right? I'm still going to be the same AJ. And I think that's where I started changing how I looked at myself.
Right, that's what I was going to say. You're cutting your hair. I don't think that was for anybody else. I think that was for you, right?
Yeah, so I would take a shower at a Gold's Gym, right? I kept a $25 Gold's Gym membership, so take a shower, chop myself up, get ready to go out there and hustle, and that was my life.
I fucking love this shit, bro.
That was my life.
Yo, so I have a friend of mine who he was actually doing okay at the time, right? This is what's crazy about that, right? Like just because you're in your car doesn't define you, right? This guy was actually doing okay, but he started another office in another area. And he was like, I'm not going to fucking rent another apartment. And he's like, I'm not going to fucking pay for a hotel. So he slept in the office every single night. He could afford it, but he was like, that's not, like, if I take this money away from what I'm trying to build, I'm taking, like, I'm counterproductive here.
Yeah.
Right. So like, he knew, he was very clear about, like, I'm better, like, I'm not defined by the fact that I'm sleeping on this fucking air mattress in this office. I'm defined by what I'm going to be accomplishing once I'm done this all. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and how I feel about myself by doing it.
Yeah.
It's crazy, bro.
And I think everybody should get that thing that puts you back in that uncomfortable place, right? Even when I left my car, there were nights I would go sleep in like, if I was getting too comfortable with life, I would go sleep in my car, right? Bro, you don't deserve the bed. You didn't earn the bed today.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? Go sleep in your car, right? I have clients that I work with now. I'm like, yo, if you don't earn your bed, you sleep on the floor. That's life. Like, you didn't earn your bed today. Sleep on the floor. Get uncomfortable, right? Every day. I take cold showers. Every day. I hate cold showers. But I take them because I want to be uncomfortable every day. I got to be uncomfortable every day. Because we soft as hell in the U.S.
Bro.
We soft.
It's crazy, right? We got the fucking audacity to complain.
Dog, we soft. We soft as wet tissue paper,
Buy a
bro.
fucking $5 coffee at Starbucks and be like, there's too much cream.
Bro, we soft, man. I'm telling you. That's one of the reasons why I like living outside the U.S.
Yeah.
Like, we don't hustle here, man. We don't struggle here.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we make excuses, man.
It kind of goes back to what we were talking about before, right? When we talk about our childhood, fuck I'm complaining for.
Hey,
like, my childhood here in America might have sounded bad, but there are kids out there that literally tried to grab an apple because they were starving and got their fingers chopped off.
Bruh, even when I look at it now, when I tell people, like, yeah, there were times where we had to sleep in front of the stove because we didn't have heat.
You had a stove, bro.
We had a stove.
Like, yeah.
Yo, the stove had electricity.
It's
you know what I'm saying?
man.
Like, we don't. It's weird, man. Part of the reason I moved out of the country is because I had a speaking engagement over in Trinidad and Tobago, and I went over there, and I always want to see how the locals live because they always keep you in the tourist spot. So I'm like, no, I want to see how the locals live. So I went over there to where the locals were, and I seen these 3 little kids playing with this chicken that was very malnourished.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, they are so happy. And they lived in a tin hut. I was like, they are so happy. Yep. And my dude I was with was like, yo, that's probably their dinner.
Yep.
And I was like, why is it that we have so much and we're so miserable and we need all of this medication and they have so little and they're so happy? Yo, that changed my whole perspective on all of this stuff, man.
Yeah, because we feel like we've been so conditioned to believe that our happiness has to be connected to something else. Right?
Yeah.
Like, we can't just be happy in our own shit.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, because I think about my childhood a lot with this because, like, you know, I remember growing up and I was probably like fucking 11, 12, 14, 16, whatever in that age range. And I'm like, I seen Power Wheels for the first time, right? I was like, damn, I wish they had that when I was a kid, like a younger kid. They were like, my friends was like, motherfucker, they been had these. Like, I didn't know that they.
this
like,
ain't new.
You know what I mean? Like, but my point was like I didn't know that I didn't have shit, and I wasn't complaining. Like, I was happy. I remember, like, I see the fucking pictures. I got home video. I got video over there in that other office. Home video of me happy as a motherfucker. I looked a hot mess. Yeah, but I was happy as shit. Yeah, and so like my point is like, yo, we fucking allow ourselves to believe that we need this fucking car or this type of house or this fucking to be happy.
Bro, that's because we don't start getting mad at our situations and disliking our situations until we have something else to compare it to.
My God, bro. Dog,
comparison is the worst thing you can do in this journey, man. Like, yo, there are so many things we talk about. We laugh and joke because it's a model that works with us named Paul, right? I was telling Michael, like, yo, I'll never be as pretty as Paul, right? But if I was serious about that would bother me,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Man, he's 6'5", he has abs. Like, I've never seen my abs in my life, right? Like, he has hair. I don't have, like, bruh, I don't care. At the end of the day, I'm AJ Vassar.
100%.
And what I realize is nobody can be a better AJ Vassar than I can.
Man.
So I'm gonna highlight everything good I have and everything bad. Then hey,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
We've talked about this before, but like that's where I was with my life. I was like, I compared everything. Like if I seen somebody drive up in a nice car, or if I seen a Paul, I'd be like, this motherfucking pretty boy done got everything handed to him his whole life, and here I am getting dealt this shitty ass shit. But I didn't realize like motherfuckers worked hard for their shit too. Like he didn't just you don't just have abs.
Yeah,
you know
right.
You don't just have abs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Motherfuckers work hard for that shit, you know? And so like for me, like once you realize like the shit that because my shit was more like what they had, like the car they had, the house they had. Like that was what I would compare. I'd be like, damn, man, I'm never gonna have that.
I've done that.
Yeah.
I've done that.
Yeah.
Man, why can't I, why I gotta have that Ford Escort?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Why can't I have the whatever car, right? At the time, it was the, what was it? The Mustang. Like, I wanted a Mustang. I'm like, yo, why can't I have a Mustang 5.0?
Those Fox bodies, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's like, but you have a car, bro. Like,
yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, it is crazy, man. It's funny. I was listening. I listen to a lot of Gary Vee. I don't know if you fuck with Gary Vee, but dude, he was talking about, he's like, you know who's allowed to complain? He's like, you know who's allowed to complain? The guy who can complain, and I'll let complain at any point in time, is the guy who ranks last in the world. Out of the 7.7 billion or whatever the fuck it is in the world, if you take the person, 7.7 billion and one or whatever he is, he can complain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like he's got it the worst. Like he got it the fucking worst. But other than that, like what the fuck are we complaining about? And every single day, man, we do that. And people don't understand like how that can impact relationships. Like if I complained all the time, you wouldn't want to fucking hang out with me, right? Who would?
True.
Who would?
True.
Like, because most of the time, like I said this before, I think, but like 80% of the people that you complain to don't give a fuck.
At all.
And the other 20% are glad you have those problems in the first place.
Misery loves company.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. So it's not, there's like the power of charm. There's like this condition of charm that goes along with that shit too. Like you repel people without even knowing you're repelling them by complaining. Yeah.
And I even look at people that complain about their spouses. I'm like, you only complaining because you think there's other ones out there. Let me take away all the women in the world. I bet you she'll be the best thing because everybody gonna want her then.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's like that grass is green, always greener type of thing.
Of course it is.
All right. So where do you go from where we just talked about to what you're doing today? Like, how does that journey happen? Like, where do you go?
So I started working in this industry, in the event industry.
Okay.
And I started working with event planners.
Okay.
So I was like, I want to be a speaker. I always knew that. I was like, yo, I started mentoring kids when I was in my barbershop because one of my mentors told me, he was like, yo, you need 3 people in your life to be successful. Somebody to lead, somebody to follow, and somebody to walk with. So I was like, perfect. I'm going to always have them 3 set up. I'm going to always have a coach or a mentor. I'm going to always have somebody that we going to get on each other's nerves. Yeah. Michael, right? Faber. I'm gonna say his whole name, Michael Faber, right? Faber. But we gonna push each other, right? We gonna compete, right? And then you always need somebody that's going to follow you.
Yeah.
Right. So I knew I wanted to have that. I knew I wanted to help kids out with that. So I started working with event planners because I was like, yo, they hire speakers. So I want to get in that industry. So I was backdooring my way into that industry. So I had to humble myself and start off at entry level. I started at $31,000 a year, and within 13 months of being at that job, I went from $31,000 to $90,000, and it wasn't commission. And I asked the HR person was like, "Yo, nobody's ever done that. You know, what are you doing differently? Right? Yeah, what are you doing differently?" And I was like, "I'm not working. Like I'm building relationships with them because I'm finna leave, and I want all of these relationships when I leave." So I didn't work for money. I worked for what I knew I was doing later. You know what I'm saying? So, and during that time, because I started making more money, it gave me an opportunity to do some great things with my money over the next, from 2016 to 2018, I gave away 5 cars. Cause I was like, yo, when I was in my car and I thought I had nothing, I still had a car.
Isn't it crazy how like you find that way that just hits you different?
Yeah.
Like that way to give back that hits you different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was my way of giving back. Like, yo, I'm a give away cars. So I would just I would just call different like pastors I knew and be like, yo, find somebody in your congregation that need a car. I'm gonna come through and give them one. And they'd be like, for real? Yeah. They was like, you want us to do any social media? I was like, nah, because I'm not doing it for that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want no hoopla about it.
Right.
Just, you know, I mean, we could do it during service, but just let's give them the car.
Yeah. All right, I got a question for you about that real quick. Because I struggled with this a little bit. When I was doing all the stuff I was doing with like juvenile justice, like at the detention centers and stuff like that, I've been talking to them since like 2012, 2011, something like that. And at first I wasn't documenting it, right? Because that wasn't why I was doing it. But then what happened was I started to document it. I started putting it out on YouTube, and I was actually getting feedback that some other counselors had played it for like different detention centers.
Yeah.
Right. And then like the other thing that happened was I was getting people that messaged me and was like, you know, I never thought about going to the detention centers and speaking. And I was like, oh shit. Like I didn't know the impact that like this could have at scale once I started to document it and put it out there. I think social media is really interesting because I think that it will reveal authenticity without anybody trying. Like it doesn't matter how hard you try to prove to people that you're doing it for the right reason.
Yeah.
If you're doing it for the fucking wrong reason, they're gonna know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so what's your take on that? Like, so you didn't do it for the social media or anything like that for the cars, but what's your take on like the idea of it inspiring other people, or what reasons to put it out on social media?
So I wish I would have done things, you know, hindsight is 2020. I wish I would have done things a little different, because I realize now that it is about, part of my purpose is inspiring others.
Of course.
Right? So I definitely missed some opportunities. So even now I have to ask myself, like, what's more important, your pride or your purpose?
Right.
Right. Because some things I do now, it's very uncomfortable for me. Right. Different watches I wear, different things I get, the way I move. But I realize I can't inspire the younger generation in certain things.
You're right. Yeah.
That's just it. You know what I'm saying? So also I had to develop the mindset of KMA, right? And it's like, yo, I know my heart, right? And for everybody else, KMA stands for kiss my ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, my mother loved me. My squad love me. They know why I do what I do. So everybody else can kiss my ass.
That's right.
You know, and that's a tough stance to take sometimes, but it's like, yo, I can't live my life based on who gonna think I did this for something else. You know what I'm saying? When I look in the mirror and I'm like, yo, we did this out of the bottom of my heart, and we know we doing it to inspire others, then let's do it.
Yeah,
you know
100%. I love that. All right, so you also brought up, and you knew I was going to go here, so go ahead and get your water in. Go ahead and get that drink. So you brought up like the relationships, right? You were there for those relationships in the speaking. Was it a bureau, or was it like just an agency?
It was
just like a event planner. That's right.
Yeah, event planners. Yep.
So you built these relationships, right? Which I'm a big relationship guy. Like that's the shit I love. But we've had some clubhouse conversations, AJ, and I want to dive into that aspect.
Let's go there.
So like, it's interesting because I even today, like, I posted because I fucking really felt, I don't want to say disappointed, because I really did what I did for these people without a return, like an expectation for the return. Like,
why?
I knew, because they were family.
So
because they needed it.
Can't know about that.
And because I didn't mind not getting that return back.
Your fault.
You think?
Yeah, that's your fault, right?
All right.
Yo, my thing is always have an expectation when you do something. Always. Yo, the only difference between me and you is I'm gonna be very clear about what my expectation is. That way, yo, either you're gonna live up to it or you're not.
Right.
Right?
So what about the people that you donated those cars to?
That made me feel good.
Right.
I ain't give a damn about what they, you know what I'm saying? Like, even they could kiss my ass, right? Like, for real.
Yo, I love it.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, yo, what if they took the car? And this is why I say that. And it's no offense to them, right? But I just we gonna be real, right?
Yeah.
So what if they took the car and after 2 years of driving it, it broke down and they was like, AJ gave me a shitty car.
Right.
Yo, you got a free car for 2 years.
Right.
What am I supposed to do? Maintain it too?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Kiss my ass.
That's a great example of what I'm talking about, by the way. Like, I gave you a car. I mean, not specifically, but I gave you a car, and still somehow, you know, a year later, you're still on. You're not happy.
Kiss my ass.
Ungrateful, right? All right. So what about this? What about this scenario? You give them the car, and Next week they sold it to somebody else.
That's what's up. It made me feel good. Don't ask me for nothing else.
Yeah.
I hope that money did you right.
Right.
Because I did this to make me feel good.
So if I do for this family member, like just again, we're kind of being generic right now, but if I do for this family member because it made me feel good, then I'm good.
You good.
Okay.
And but no, that's why you doing it. Because if you're not, you need to tell them, yo, I'm doing this so you get off your ass and you go get a job.
Right.
If you're not going to do this, I'm not going to give you the car.
Right.
Because this is my expectation. This ain't for you to run around the block and talk about you got a new car. I'm doing this because I have an expectation. Now, are you man enough to tell them that?
I think so. So am I man enough to tell them that? Sure. Right. But here's my take on it. And this is where I've gotten hung up on it. Because first of all, I'll tell you guys, like the people that have screwed me over in my life have been family. They've been church going motherfuckers that swore that they were all about God and righteousness, right? And so for me, I'm like, okay, I don't want to set myself up for disappointment, right, at all, right? So if I'm going to do something for somebody, it's because I don't expect them to do something for me back. I know, in my opinion, this is my opinion, that if I put out good, the universe, the energy, whatever, is going to return good to me, right? So if I do over here, I got expectations, you better believe it, but it just isn't from them specifically. My expectations is going to come back in other ways, and it always has.
So let me ask you this. When you gave them the car and they sold it, how did you feel?
Well, that didn't specifically happen, but...
How would you feel?
No, I'm saying like that's the point is like I don't feel disappointed anymore.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because once you gave it to them, your expectation was satisfied.
Right, exactly. I did exactly what I wanted to do. Boom, here's your car. I don't care if you had a buyer on the other side of the bush.
Yeah,
waiting for that bitch.
That's cool.
Right.
But I know what my expectations are. I know what my expectation is, right? Me and Michael, our relationship is built on, these are expectations for each other.
Right.
Right? One of our expectations is, we never gonna disrespect each other in public. Right? If that happens, there's all hell to pay. Until we figure out, is that what happened? Or was that a misunderstanding?
Right.
Because that's what we don't do.
Right.
That's an expectation.
Yeah.
Right? You mess up that expectation, we gonna have to talk on both sides.
Right. What about when he put your business out in the streets? Like I heard him talk about somebody's like World Star video at the last event. Like, I don't know what.
Did you set the expectation? Did you set the expectation?
It was unspoken expectation.
So let me tell you what I call those.
Just teasing, by the way. I did not mind.
Because a lot of people do that though, right? So let's tackle that. A lot of people create what we call covert contracts.
Right.
All right. Let me explain it. You hit me up, AJ. I need help moving.
Right.
All right. And I'm like, you my guy. No doubt. I'm gonna help you move. What I'm not telling you is when it's my turn to move, I expect you to help me as well.
Right.
That's a covert contract.
Gotcha.
So what I do now is when you say, AJ, I need help moving, I'm going to tell you, bruh, I will help you. But when it's my turn to move, I expect you to help me too. Now, if you down with that, cool, I'm going to come. If you're not, then go hire somebody else.
So clearly communicate that in that moment.
I'm not.
But what if you don't want that back? What if you like, listen, I genuinely just want to help you?
Then you're not going to be mad if they don't help you back.
Right. So
then it doesn't hurt the relationship.
Yeah.
But if it is going to hurt the relationship, then you want that back. Right?
Yeah.
I tell you.
I believe in that big time. And that is one thing. We mentioned Dave Ramsey on the last episode, but he's like, listen,
Trash.
Bro, all right, but you're going to love this fucking quote. If you don't want to talk to your brother-in-law no more, let him borrow $150.
That's a covert expectation though. That's a covert contract I made. Like, why would you do that?
Because you know he's not going to come back. It's a joke, but at the same time, like, that's it.
But
like,
why not just tell him, I don't fuck with you?
Right,
Like,
but that's the point. Like, if you're going to do it, just know that you're going to give it to him. Like, if you're going to give him that money, just give it to him. Don't fucking let him borrow it because then you're just fucking up a relationship in the first place.
Yeah, and I think Dave Ramsey is good for certain people. I think too many people have bought him in his law. I think for the clients that Sean works with, he's good. If you're an entrepreneur, what he tells you is garbage.
Garbage.
I feel like
garbage. Now I will say
Susie
this.
Orman, garbage.
Yeah, I started out my business with a lot of Dave Ramsey principles, and I'm very fucking grateful I did because I think there came a point where I needed to evolve from that thinking, but in the beginning wasn't the time for that. Like, I built my business with zero fucking debt, and had I not, I wouldn't have been able to later leverage debt the way that I was. So I could afford right? Like I could literally afford, as I built my business, to take less and less from my business because because I didn't build it on big ass monthly payments to somebody else for just lending me money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so as a result, I think he's cool for personal finance, but in business it's not.
Yeah. And that's what I mean by trash, right? Because I feel like what he says is incomplete.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, on one hand, it is good for personal finance, but most of us, our businesses are our lives.
Yeah.
So if you just be like, oh, well, I'm gonna use Dave Ramsey's to do everything,
right.
yo, you
like why wouldn't you have a mortgage on your house, right? Like he preaches to buy your house cash.
Oh,
right? Like interest rates are like 2.8% right now.
That's why I say it's incomplete.
Yeah, that's like almost fucking free
money.
Yeah,
right. It's incomplete. Why not teach people like the tax laws that say you can sell your house up to 5 years as long as it's not 250,000, you don't have to pay taxes on the increase. Like you know what I'm saying? Teach people stuff like that where it's like, yo, keep the mortgage. Selling in 5 years, you can take the increase as long as it's not over 250 and you don't have to pay taxes. Teach them that, right?
Yeah.
Educate people for real on the tax law. But other than that, like, yo, then you still playing people.
So, all right. So you work with a lot of people today, taking them to the next level. What do you think it is that really mainly, like, I know it's hard to generalize this because each person's a little bit different, but what do you think is the biggest, most common thing holding people back?
Laziness, self-doubt for everybody. It's not even
laziness and self-doubt.
Laziness and self-doubt.
Yep.
Yeah. It's not even for everybody. Laziness and self-doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Explain.
Yo, there are things that people can do, right? It's proven that the body only requires, right, like 5 to 6 good hours of sleep.
Yeah.
After that, you can get up and work your ass off as long as you want, right? What do? We get on Facebook, we get on Instagram, because we lazy, right? And then we have self-doubt because if we believe we could do it, we'll do it, right? And if you ain't got nobody kicking you in your ass like a coach, then yo, you're not gonna do it. It's laziness and self-doubt, bro. Yeah, that's everybody's problem. It's everybody's problem.
And I'm big on that sleep thing, man. Like, there's a Steve Harvey video that goes around all the time. Have you seen this? He's like, how are you gonna sleep 8 hours a day, right? And he's like, that's 1/3 of your day. That's 1/3 of the 24 hours that you were given. Like,
I think he's a cornball at times. I'm gonna be honest.
Right, cool. Hey, Brandon, make sure we get that on a cut.
Corn. I mean, and the cornball part about it is, I think he panders to women.
Okay.
I don't think he's truthful with women.
Okay.
I think that he's part of the culture that helps emasculate men. And a lot of men in the U.S., me and my guys, we talk about this all the time. We say, a lot of men these days have grown up to be strong, independent women like their mothers.
Oh my God. That's crazy, bro.
Yo, when I was in Cancun, I told my mother, like, yo, you raised me to be good for you, but you didn't raise me to be a man. You couldn't. You're a single mother. How you gonna raise a man to be a man? You can't teach me how to be a man. You can teach me how to be the soft dude you wanted my dad to be.
Yeah.
That's all you can teach me how to do.
Damn. Yo, so I've said it on here plenty of times. I think women are better in business. I think women are, like, honestly, I think women are very, very superior in many ways.
I think women are very superior in many ways.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's just crazy because I really haven't looked into Steve Harvey that much to understand that much about him, but I think it is crazy how we've been just like so taught that like men, businessmen.
So let me explain why I feel like let's go there.
Okay.
Because I'm going back to South America anyway, so yeah, I can get booed or whatever. I don't give a damn, right? But let's go there, right?
I'm listening.
Of course, women are better because men can't be men anymore. Of course they're going to be better, right? Men are, you have this thing called toxic masculinity that they talk about, right? Now, I do believe there are a lot of areas that men need to work on. But then I do believe there are a lot of areas that women just need to let men be men. Yo, we handle things different than you. Let us handle them, right? The way
In what ways? Like, do you have examples?
So I'll use me and Michael, right?
All right.
When me and Michael have a problem, we don't kumbaya it, right? We literally say, bruh, do we need to take it to the street, right? Because we're mature enough to know if it needs to be aggression, we'll build it up to aggression, right? But I think it's that aggressive part that keeps us calm. And I'm gonna explain this, and I know there probably will be a lot of women that don't agree with this, right? There are things that I will not say to Michael because I know Michael probably has a nice right hook. There are things Michael won't say to me because Michael knows I can probably slam him, right? Because we know that, we keep it, we like, yo, these are our boundaries. Because I know he is a man and I'm a man. This can get real physical, right? With women, they like, hit me if you want to, but they know we won't, right? So they don't have a boundary.
Okay.
They're like, yo, what you gonna do?
Say whatever.
They're gonna say whatever, right? So what men have been taught is, since we can't do nothing to you, we just gonna be little D-bobs. We gonna cower down, and we gonna let you be what they call assertive now, and we gonna look like little bitches. Because what else can we do? If I yell at you, now you feel intimidated, right? So now I gotta cower down. Yo, so of course they seem like they're better now. Of course they seem like they're better. And I'm not saying they're not. I'm not saying, and I have some amazing women in business. I think women are amazing. If anybody knows me, I love my mother. That's my world, right? I truly believe in women. But I also believe that men are definitely being emasculated in the US.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously see that in so many things anyway, right? Like there's just certain things that you can't be like, even Mike on stage last week, he's like, and the women, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like to a certain degree though, that's like, we, especially in business, we have to be careful about the way that we,
everything. We have to be careful about everything. And I'm not saying women don't need to be respected, because anybody knows you disrespect any woman in my family, we're going to have problems, right? But also, you don't have to pander to them. You don't have to, right? There are certain things that, because we call it politically correct now, and the politically correct thing keeps getting moved. That bar keeps getting moved.
For real, bro.
So it's like, yo, so that's why Michael's on stage like, hey guys, gals too.
Right.
You know what I'm
Because
saying?
there's shit you can't say in fucking 2021 that was the norm to say 11 years ago.
Yeah.
Like.
Hands down.
Yeah.
I can't call certain women ma'am anymore because it's disrespectful to their age. Get out of here. I'm going to respect you. That's how my mama brought me up.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I'll go back to South America.
Yep. I do that. People be like, please don't call me ma'am. I'm like, I'm going to. I don't care if you're half my age.
Kiss my ass. I'm calling you ma'am. I will call your daughters ma'am.
Yeah.
Can I help you, ma'am? You know what I'm saying? Because, that's just a ton of respect.
Now, let me ask you this, though. This is if I'm trying to put myself in, like, because my daughter, man, she's a strong-minded young lady, man, and she would be like, this, and this. And I'm trying to think about some of the things that she would say. And one of the things that she would say is, right, it's crazy how, like, we have, by way of, like, sexuality, we have told women that they shouldn't, like, act a certain way, dress a certain way, say certain things, look a certain way because of how it's going to impact or distract the man. So like in school, she can't wear tank tops because it's going to distract the boys. It's a distraction. Like, what? How about you tell them to stay fucking focused? Why do I have to wear a goddamn tank top so that they're not distracted? Why can't they just stay focused? Or like I've literally seen, and I'm sure it's mostly a joke, but listen, there's a lot of truth in a joke, but there's been this like thing that went around Facebook, and it's like this list of like, reasons why sexual assaults and rapes happen. And they're like, skimpy clothes, over makeup, young, like girls not doing this, and this. And then at the bottom, it's like rapists. Like, why does this happen? Because fucking like there are rapists, not because this girl wore a skimpy outfit, right? But like we've got to this place where we're like, okay, you can't dress a certain way, act a certain way because it's gonna cause this man to act out.
So all right, so I feel like I could talk about this, especially being a black man.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yo, I think the problem the problem that we're having, especially in the US, is we want shit to be fair. Shit isn't fair.
Fuck no.
It's just life, right? I'm sorry. If you put yourself in situations where you look like that and that's what happens, I'm not saying it's right. I think it's wrong. Like I said, yo, me and my brothers will go haywire if anything happens to my sister. 100%. But I'm also gonna tell my sister, yo, if you go to a party on campus, right? Don't wear certain things, right? Because you're putting yourself in a situation. I am a black man. If I go to the hood, it's certain ways I'm not gonna dress because I know this is how I'm gonna be perceived, right? It's certain things I will not do because I know life ain't fair.
Yeah.
And that's just life. So until that shit changes, then yo, I'm gonna just be according to what is. I'm not gonna be according to what I wish it was, right? I wish I could talk to police the way a white woman talks to a police. Okay, cool, I'm gonna do that. Then I get shot, then I'm like, yo, life ain't fair. Well, I'm dead now. Or you're raped now.
Yep.
Or any of that, right? Yo, it's not fair. But what you gonna, like, yo, we can work to change it over time.
Right.
But it is what it is right now.
Yeah.
That's life. That's the US.
I love that answer, bro. I love that answer, especially because I love the fact that you brought race into it too, because that is something that is something I deal with a lot when I'm speaking with detention centers, right? I'm speaking to mostly young black men in there, right? And I'm not the darkest complexion, you know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, how can I get them to relate to what I'm trying to say to them, right? So I bring up examples just like you, right? Like where black men have overcome the odds. But one of the things that I've seen a lot recently, right, is this position of why should I try anyway? I'm just going to get shot by police anyway.
Oh, so this is the thing. There is a higher probability that I will get shot by police because I know that there are things that I can do that can put me in a higher probability that I won't.
Right.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean you give up on life. That doesn't mean you give up on hustling. Hell no, I'm not going to give up.
I'm going to keep putting myself in better situations so that my odds become better. Correct. That's all life gives you a chance to do is make your odds better, right? I was here today. Yo, I'm the only black guy here. If the police pulled up and they said, which one of these guys have not been to jail? I would have been the one that has not been to jail, right? Y'all some damn criminals. I pointed to you and you. Yeah. I pointed to you and you. Right? Oh, you too? Oh, yeah, you did go to jail, right? Right. But, yo, it's not fair. Right. But I know that. Yo, I don't argue with it.
Right.
I accept it and I work to make it better, right?
Yeah. So it's super interesting that you were talking about like the way that you talk to police. You can't talk to them the way that a white woman
Hell no.
So me and my wife, we were in DMV, right? I was getting my license renewed. And we're walking in there and I'm sitting there talking to the people and I could tell they were just delaying. Like they weren't getting this shit done. And DMV always takes a while. So it's hard to really, clarify if they're just delaying for a certain reason. But anyway, I turn around, there's fucking like 4 cops and 2 dogs, right? Now, like I've done that to myself, right? So when I get pulled over, I have to be like a very compliant version of me. Not because I've been profiled, but because I did some shit to put them on edge. You know what I mean? Before they come up to my window, they know what I've done in my past. You know what I mean? So I have to act a certain way so that I know I ain't going, the wrong direction. And it don't matter how wrong this officer is. It don't matter how wrong. I'm not arguing with that motherfucker. I can promise you that. I'm going to be the most compliant version of me I can ever be. But I did that shit to myself.
Yeah.
I did that shit to myself, And like, it's just wild to me that like there is this like, okay, I got to train my kid on how to behave around police, how to chat with police, conversation that's happening in black households as much as it has to be had.
Hell yeah. Like my mother taught us that at a young age. Like, right. And I'll say this, and people can disagree with me all they want. And I thought about it when Mike Brown was killed in St. Louis, because I grew up near St. Louis. And as unfortunate as it was, I believe it was just a perfect storm, right? Because one thing that I see in the black community that you don't have in the white community is when kids mess up, right? When you all mess up, you go to timeout, do whatever you do. When black kids mess up, one of their scare tactics is, I'm gonna get the police. So you start initiating this fear at a very young age of the police, right? And they feel that way because they like, yo, if we do get the police, they gonna tear you up anyway, right? So I mean, it's a legit fear, but you're starting at a young age with this child to start letting them know, yo, if I get the police, that's a threat, right? Well, then you have all of these movies that show black men as a threat, right? Yeah. So now you have white kids that grow up that are afraid of black men because black men are shown as a threat. So you have a white man with a badge that's scared of a black man. You have a black man that's scared of a white man. The person that gets to their gun first wins because you just have two scared individuals. And that's what happens a lot with a lot of this stuff, right? Because we never deal with it. We never talk about it. We never talk about where it comes from and talk about how we can make it better and be around people, right? For a long time, I didn't trust white people because I wasn't around them. I had to be around them. And one of my aunts is white, but I had to be around them because all you go off of is what your community tell you. So if you are in a community and all the community tell you is all black people are bad and all black people are thugs and all black people are violent, then what else would you think? Like you're predisposed to think that. So if we don't have these conversations, if we don't talk about real stuff, if we keep everything surface, nothing's ever gonna change. Until you around me, you like, yo, nah, I know the joke is like, I have a black friend, right? But, right, until you actually have like black friends. Yeah. And you be like, yo, yeah, y'all do get loud, but that doesn't mean there's a problem. No. You all are just excited. You're emotional. Hell, go to a black church. You'll see they're just as loud, but it's not violent, right? But you have to be around them, right? All of y'all with tattoos aren't going to be Unabombers, right?
Nah. Yeah, it's interesting to bring that up too because like we grew up in a trailer park and like my dad would get pulled over leaving the trailer park, right? Because we were like the trailer trash, which is like, but at the same time, like I said earlier, like he would get pulled over, but it was mainly because he had long hair, tattoos. Like these are things like he did to himself. Like he couldn't, like a black man just can't like hit a button and not be black.
Not be black. Yeah.
So, but all right, look, you've obviously, right, you've overcome tons of obstacles in life that was just general trouble that you went through or problems that you went through or challenges that you've overcome. But as a black man who made it, right? Like I feel like you've made it. And
out of the U.S.
Right. Well, I get that. But what I'm saying is like, I want to provide like, because I speak to these kids often, right?
Yeah.
Like, what would you say to that young man who's like, why should I try anyway? I'm gonna get shot by police, or I'm gonna end this way anyway. Like I get there's a certain degree of like I hate to use this word because it's a real problem, but there's also like this victim mentality that gets enhanced also by the environment. Like I had victim mentality without that whole separate challenge of being a black man. So like obviously that's there too. So how do you like overcome all of that?
I think it comes with personal accountability. Just saying like, you know what? I'm responsible for my life. I'm responsible for my actions. And I'm going to control the things that I can control. Man, I can't control if the police pull me over. What I can control is how I act. And even if I act right, they may still do something to me. But I'm always going to be in control of me. Right? So start there. Control what you can control, man. Right? And I want to clarify the joke I made about getting out the U.S. because I tell people all the time, because people used to always say, if you don't love it, leave it, right? If you don't love, leave. If you don't love this country, leave it. And I had to tell them like, yo, what would you tell a woman that you loved if she kept getting beat by her husband? Would you tell her to stay or would you tell her to leave? And I would say, is she leaving because she doesn't love her husband? Or is she leaving because clearly her husband doesn't love her enough to stop hitting?
Right. Yeah.
So I didn't leave because I don't love the U.S. I left because clearly the U.S. doesn't love me enough to stop hitting me.
All right. Well, listen, bro. I love the conversation. Obviously, like, we're just like really just knocking off some ice off the corner of the iceberg here because there's a lot to be said. But we do have a clock here, and I want to make sure I'm respectful of your time and everybody else's time here. Obviously, this is an awesome episode. I want to make sure the people that are listening can follow up with you, follow your journey.
Don't follow me.
Like, where can they get in contact with you if they wanted to hire you as a coach?
UnleashU Now.
UnleashU Now. Okay. Follow Michael Faber.
Any hate mail, go to @Michael Faber.
Me and Michael are going to start a Where in the World is AJ Vassar website. Like the Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. You guys remember that shit? We're going to do that.
Any hate mail, send it to UnleashU Now. I am
His name
fully
is AJ
a part
Vassar.
of it.
That's VASSAR.
Right. No, that's all my social media is just AJ Vassar. Like, cool. if you wanna holler at me, AJ Vassar.
All right,
and UnleashU Now.
All right, last question I ask everybody that comes on the show.
What's up?
You've said a few, but if you haven't mentioned something, or if you just want to, be general, you can. In what ways in your life, or do you have an example in your lifetime where you went above and beyond, aka the extra mile, and it really just changed your life and had a significant impact?
What ways? I always go with the most recent. Because I feel like that feels the most impactful. And it was walking my mother to the ocean. My mother has rheumatoid arthritis, and it's very hard for her to walk. Her love is going to the ocean. She doesn't deal with water, but she just likes to put her feet in it. She hasn't done that in years now because of her rheumatoid arthritis. Because I invested in myself and did the things to obtain freedom, I was able to, number one, fly her down. Because of the tribe that I'm with, my crew, the UnleashU fam, all of her rooming was taken care of. And I was able to get up early in the morning, and I told her, we can spend however much time you need getting to this ocean.
Yep.
And she did it. And she didn't give up. And when she went down there, she said, you know what? I made a decision. I'm going to live until I die. Because she was giving up on life. She felt like she was a burden. So the fact that my mother told me that she wasn't going to give up, and it was just because I took time.
Fire.
I took time.
That's good shit. AJ, you've crushed it, man. I appreciate you. You were an awesome guest. Can't wait to have you back, but I'll have to make sure I catch you on one of your trips to the U.S.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Hey, guys, thanks for tuning into this episode of the Extra Mile Podcast. Click those buttons, hit follow, hit subscribe. I'll continue to bring you high-caliber guests like my man AJ. Appreciate you guys' time today.
Your success is on the other side of your comfort zone. See, that's the difference between me and those other guys. I wanted it more than they did. I wanted it enough to get uncomfortable. I wanted it enough to go the extra mile. Do you want it bad enough? Do you want it bad enough to go the extra mile?